Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NFL Thoughts. So, week 15 is now upon us. And you know what that means? It's time to get to these week 15 motherfluffing predictions. Because obviously that's as good as I'm going to be able to do. Gotta be explicit here. Nonetheless, let's get down to the first game. You got 49ers versus Seahawks. 49ers coming off of an absolute beatdown against the Buccaneers. Seahawks coming off of a very unusual loss to the Carolina Panthers. Geno Smith still cooking with his usual 3 touchdown passes. And the 49ers, well, they have been cooking since after the game against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And they have not lost since. And I think that will continue with them not losing a game. Because I think the 49ers are going to beat Seattle convincingly 27-17. I think the 49ers are going to sweep the season series of Seattle. And, well, basically with this victory, the 49ers will clinch the NFC West title. Colts versus the Vikings. Yes, I'm aware that the Vikings are coming off of a disappointing loss to the Detroit Lions, but understand what the Detroit Lions are capable of. And understand that Minnesota had their hands full going up against a very heartful and determined Detroit Lions team. And their offense was going right up and down the field on the Vikings defense. There were bombs after bombs after bombs thrown in this game. Between both teams, actually. Now, am I expecting that to happen for the Vikings opponent that they got upcoming? No, absolutely not. The Colts offense is trash. And I'm not expecting very much out of this Colts offense, to be quite honest with you. I'm not expecting very much, nor I don't think I ever will, to be quite honest with you. But I think we might be seeing our very first win for the Vikings this season that actually did not come down to the final minutes or the final possession. I think they will win this game 35-10, mark my words. Ravens versus the Browns. Ravens, well, they obviously are without Lamar Jackson right now. It's basically a week-to-week process. And now they don't got Tyler Huntley because he was in concussion protocol against Pittsburgh last Sunday. So the Ravens have a bit of a QB problem, a QB issue. But at the same time, they have that ground game that is still very much effective and a defense that will keep Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns offense in check. And then the Browns might just honestly do that. They might just very well do that to themselves. And yeah, but at the same time, I think that the Ravens will win this game down to the wire because I just think that their offense isn't going to do a whole bunch to where this game is convincing. So I have them winning by a 2-point conversion fail of the Cleveland Browns, and they're going to win 21-19. Dolphins versus Bills. The Dolphins have been in an offensive funk in the past couple of weeks. They struggled and played mightily bad against San Francisco, but that was expected. The 49ers have the best defense in the league. But then they repeated the same exact routine against the Chargers with one of the worst defenses in the league. And I'm still scratching my head on that one, on how they struggled in that game on Sunday night. But nonetheless, the Dolphins may very well be in a little bit of a crisis right now, which is why I have the Bills winning in convincing fashion, 28-17. I actually think that the Dolphins might just score 17 points for the third game in a row. Eagles versus the Bears. The Eagles are, of course, coming off of a showing of flexing their muscles against the New York Giants, who I still believe are a good team. They just didn't look like it on Sunday. The Eagles might very well be the best team in the NFL, and as of right now, Jalen Hurts is in the front running for MVP in my opinion. So, yeah, the Eagles have been flying, and, well, the Bears, well, they've just been going through they've been going through absolute heartbreak week after week after week, in my opinion, at least with Justin Fields. The whole experiment that they tried against the New York Jets without Justin Fields, that game just was terrible. That game did not come down to the wire. But, yeah, Justin Fields keeps the Bears in every single game because of his athleticism and his ability to just carry the team on his back. And I think that will pay dividends for the Chicago Bears this time. This time, I believe that the Bears will finally, in a back-to-back slugfest, will finally be able to snag one of these close victories. This is my upset pick of the week. The Chicago Bears are going to win 41-35 against the Eagles. And let me tell you why. I feel like the Eagles' defense is reeling a little bit. Alright? I think that they're reeling a little bit. Yeah, sure, they showed some good, things against New York. But I still think back to games like against the Packers where they gave up 33 points. I think back to games, like they had against, I can't even remember who they played before that. Dang. I don't even know. But, yeah, games like against Green Bay. I think about games like they had against Washington. I think about quite a couple games this year. Quite a few games like against Detroit in the opening, game of the season. Or against Jacksonville. Their defense has shown signs of being a little average at times, and their offense needing to, play at super incredible performance. And unfortunately, I think it's going to rear its ugly head against Justin Fields and the Bears. All right. And this is what everybody wants. Jalen Hurts versus Justin Fields. This game is going to be exciting. I will say that. This game will be exciting. Lions versus Jets. Lions are coming off of a win against the Minnesota Vikings, one of the best teams in the league. And they've been on a roll a little bit. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. And they actually mathematically are still, they still have a chance to make the playoffs, which is crazy to say. But with that being said, the Jets are coming off of a tough loss to the Buffalo Bills. And I will say, Mike White, like I said before, he might not be your long term answer, but he's definitely the answer compared to Zach Wilson and maybe even Joe Flacco. With that being said, the Jets have shown some grit a lot this year. I think this is a game where I think they might beat Detroit. I think the Jets will beat Detroit. I think that they will escape with the win. The game is going to come down to the wire, and the Jets are going to win 20-19. Because I feel like that Jets defense might be able to contend with the Lions offense and slow them down a bit. And as long as Mike White and that running game can get things going, I think they'll be able to escape with a victory in this game to keep their playoff hopes alive. Steelers versus the Panthers. This game, both teams have really good defenses, and both teams have very capable running games, especially Carolina. Pittsburgh, well, they're slowly starting to get their running game back on track. Get back to playing Steeler football. I think that this game, I never know when to pick the Panthers. It's like 1 week I'll pick them to lose and then they win. Or 1 week I'll pick them to win and then they lose. So sometimes I don't know how to pick these guys. But you know what? I'm trusting my gut. I'm going to pick the Panthers to win this game in a low-scoring affair, 17-14. Chiefs versus the Texans. I mean, do I really even need to, go any further? The Texans coming off of a game where they probably put their best foot forward against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. And let's face it, I don't think that they can replicate a performance like that again. Not against this team. I think it's going to be a 41-17 blowout for Kansas City. I'm giving the Texans 17 points because I'm not going to lie, at times the Chiefs' defense is a little bit questionable. And I mean, the Chiefs gave up 28 points to the Denver Broncos with one of the worst offenses in the league. So, trust me, anything's possible. Falcons versus the Saints. I have the Saints winning this game convincingly, 24-14. They're going to be at home. Desmond Ridder, from what I heard, he's going to be starting. And I feel like the Saints I feel like they finally got their defense back to what they were playing like last year and what they had been playing like the past recent, years, under Dennis Allen. So, meanwhile, the Falcons, well, their offense is questionable at times. And their defense is really bad. And I think Andy Dalton might just very well generate enough points. The Saints will win this game 24-14. Cowboys versus the Jaguars. Let me tell you one thing. I will obviously speak more in depth about this game on Saturday. But and Friday. I will talk about it on Friday too. I think that this is just one of those weeks coming off of a very underwhelming game like that against Houston, where I feel like this is one of those weeks where we got to talk about the Cowboys game leading up for a couple of days. We have to. This is one of those weeks because we got to get back on track and get back to being mentally focused. With that being said, Jacksonville, they're a good football team. They are no doubt. All right. They just got done beating the Titans pretty good on Sunday. So let me just say this: I'm gonna make my prediction right now. Call me a a professional prognosticator. I think for the Cowboys, we are gonna have a fight for most of that first half. We're gonna be down 14-10 in the final, heading into the final 2 minutes of the first half, and then Dak Prescott is gonna drive the Cowboys on a masterful drive. We're going to score a touchdown and take a 17-14 lead at halftime. And then during that halftime break, we're thinking about some things, and it's like, okay, we got them. In the second half, we're going to dominate. And we're going to win this game 31-17 in convincing fashion. That's how I think this game's going to go. Cardinals versus Broncos. Well, the Broncos, speaking of, like I was talking about the Houston Texans, the Broncos might have just very well put their best foot forward on Sunday against Kansas City. I don't think they can replicate that type of performance again. I think their offense is going to go back to sucking, and I think Colt McCoy might be able to, generate some offense against Denver. And yet, do I not have the utmost confidence in this pick? Probably not. But nonetheless, I got Cardinals winning convincingly 20-10. And then I have Patriots Raiders. Oddly enough, I have this game being high scoring because I feel like the Patriots are one of those teams where they'll play poorly offensively for like a few weeks, and then once in a blue moon, they'll come out and they actually have a pretty good offensive performance. Like they did after coming off of that narrow 10-3 victory against the Jets, where it came down to a game-winning punt return for a TD, and then 4 days later against Minnesota, they kind of got into a shootout against Minnesota in a 33-26 game. Yeah, they lost, but it gave you some confidence about the Patriots' offense. And then they went back to sucking again the very next game. So I think this is one of those moments. I think they're going to have a good performance against Las Vegas, but I think Vegas might be able to. I think Las Vegas might be able to get some offense going. I mean, they got way too much firepower for me not to believe that. Disregard that game they had last week on Thursday night. They got way too much firepower. So I think that Bill Belichick's gonna have a tough time stopping the Raiders, and I think this is gonna be a high scoring game, and the Raiders will win 34-27. And then you got Titans versus Chargers. Well, the Titans, they have not looked good. Meanwhile, the Chargers are coming off of a pretty impressive game against Miami, where their offense looked pretty impressive. Justin Herbert looks like he's back to the Justin Herbert of old. It looks like them ribs are healing up a little bit, and he looks like the Justin Herbert of old again. So, say what you want to say. I got the Chargers winning this game convincingly 31-19. I just don't think that the Titans are going to be able to get Derrick Henry going in time. I think the Chargers will get a jump on Tennessee, and for the most part, they're not going to look back. Bengals versus the Buccaneers. This game, oddly enough, I have this being a high-scoring game, and that being because Tom Brady will no matter how bad of a how bad of a season offensively that he'll have, once in a while, or once at least, he'll have one game where the offense just looked, whoa. They looked pretty good. And I think this is one of those weeks. Cincinnati, not the best defense. They're a fairly tough defense. So I got the Buccaneers having possibly their best offensive showing of the year. I can't say that game against Kansas City because remember, they were down 41-17, and then they scored a couple garbage time touchdowns to make it 41-31. So the game wasn't really meaningful at that point when they scored all those points in the fourth quarter. So this is going to be their best offensive performance of the year. But I think the Bengals are just going to be too much. Joe Burrow's going to be too much. Joe Shiesty is legit. And I should have said that last year, but now I'm definitely saying it now. He is legit. Top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Only behind Patrick Mahomes and I don't know. At the moment, he's not playing real well right now, but Josh Allen. Yeah, I think this game will be high scoring, but the Bengals win 33-30. Giants versus the Commanders. Okay, Giants, you can only get healthier from week to week. You can only get healthier. So they're going to be healthier this time going up against the Commanders. And the Commanders, they'll put up a fight too. But I think that this game, once again, is going to be a battle between these two teams. But I think the Giants are going to win this time. I think that they might be I think they'll be healthier this time than they were before. And I think they'll be able to come out with the victory this time, 27-23. Giants, if you lose this game, this will be the last time that I ever have faith in you guys winning a game. All right, because it's just going to go, it only can go downhill from here if you lose. Rams versus the Packers. I don't trust Baker Mayfield. That game against the Raiders might have very well just been a fluke. I don't trust him. Okay? I don't trust him at all. So, yeah, the Packers, they've shown some pretty promising stuff offensively. Christian Watson seems like he might be something now that could be the future for Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love. All right, so I got the Packers winning convincingly 26-13. So those are my picks. I got the 49ers over the Seahawks, Vikings over the Colts, Ravens over the Browns, Bills over the Dolphins, Bears over the Eagles. That's my upset pick of the week. Jets over the Lions, Panthers over the Steelers, Chiefs over the Texans, Saints over the Falcons, Cowboys over the Jaguars, Cardinals over the Broncos, Raiders over the Patriots, Chargers over the Titans, Bengals over the Buccaneers, Giants over the Commanders, and Packers over the Rams. With that being said, guys, like, subscribe. This is NFL Thoughts, out.